On tonight's show here for Fast Break for iSports Radio, we'll discuss the NBA playoffs. Can the Lakers get their act together, or there's a chance to get swept again? Did Boston catch a lucky break with Jimmy Butler's injury? We'll discuss that. Plus, don't ain't no magic. First time in the playoffs for a lot of those young guys. Can they bounce back in game 2? Also, is it Anthony Edwards' time to step up as a bona fide superstar in the league? We'll discuss that and much more here, live on Spreaker, however you get your podcast, for iSports Radio, your direct feed for all sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as she shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing tonight? Thank y'all to the chat. Joining in right now. We're alive and popping right now. Feeling good. I finally got a new phone after like almost 3 weeks doing AT&T. So that's been a good joy on that stuff. But D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty decent, man. I'm glad they got a chance to get in the playoffs. So I'm happy about that. But in like that first game, hopefully we can bounce back from that.
And we'll discuss him here momentarily because I thought they would come out stronger than that, but they didn't play well. But we'll, dive in that here more in a second. But to kind of go over today's scores real quick to get to deep dive in all that stuff. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks have just putting a beating on the Pacers. 56-29. Siakam, 15 points to lead away for the Pacers. Neighborhood, Halliburton are not particularly playing well right now for the Pacers. On the other side of things, with no Giannis, by the way, he's going to be out probably for the first couple games. So no Giannis, by the way, but Damian Lillard is kind of pick up the slack tonight. 27 points for him in this first half. 8 points for Middleton. 8 points for Bobby Portis for the Bucks so far. Real quick on this game, why this game's ongoing, D-Lock. With Giannis out for at least a couple games, what's the importance for the Bucks to kind of get this first victory in the series? What's the importance in your eyes with Giannis out to get this first victory out the way and no pressure on them beyond that?
I mean, this is the reason why they went and traded for Dame. So they got a guy that can take over and make a big move. So even though Giannis is not there, this team, I think, is still one of the better teams in the NBA. Bobby Portis is still Bobby Portis. Chris Middleton, when he does get a chance to play and be healthy, he'll do a lot. But I think that, having, Dame plays a huge part. I think, him, obviously Patrick Beverly coming in, I think that plays a big, big piece on this team being successful. So for me, I think it's very crucial that they win without Giannis this game 1. And let them know that they are that better team. Because clearly we've seen what Boston did today. So for Milwaukee to be competitive, they have to show what they can do, trading for Dame. So they can make this move without Giannis. It shows that this team is, a team that can be very, very scary when they add in another top 5 player in the NBA.
I look at this game real quick. It's great that they are jumping on Indiana like this and playing very well defensively, especially keeping Tyrese Halliburton in check. as well. I think it's very crucial if they want to win this series. Um, no Benedict Mathurin for the Pacers, so that scoring you probably have off the bench is not there. So that's kind of like a negative for them right now. But they really got to shape up, especially in the second half. And I don't know, you got to throw a whole bunch of guys at Dame right now, who's at 32 points right now. But if you can't slow him down for the rest of the game, then I wonder if he's going to pick up speed, pick up more and more momentum come game 2, and then you're down 2-0 going down the interstate to Indianapolis. And granted, yeah, you could probably win a couple games there, but it's like, why put yourself in a disadvantage like that? So right now the Bucks are up 64-35 on the Pacers with a minute 22 left in the second. Other games today that finish out: the Celtics, the Heat. Celtics win 114-94. The Heat without Jimmy Butler for the foreseeable future, which makes my pick of last weekend's show kind of like. So there's that. 24 points for Bam Adebayo. Only 6 rebounds for him. 16 points for Jamie Jaquez, the rookie. 17 points off the bench for Delion Wright. Tyler Hero, 11 points for him, but didn't play particularly well. On the other side of things, Jason Tatum had a triple-double, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, but 1 for 8 for three-point land. That's got to get better. Been saying that for the past 3 years. Anyways, 12 points off the bench for Sam Hauser. Al Horford off the bench, 10 points for him, 7 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard had 8 points right there as well. D-Lock, with no Jimmy Butler to kind of make a difference in this series, how do you foresee Miami Heat's chances going forward after this game 1 loss?
I hate to say it, or give up on this team, but it's going to be a very slim chance that they can make a big move. Jimmy Butler is the person that leads this team in the playoffs. We've seen it numerous times, starting from the playoffs, in the bubble, making it NBA Finals. So, the famous picture we see him, leaning after he's had a historic game. Jimmy Butler is the one that leads this team a long way, and without Jimmy Butler, I think this team definitely is missing a big piece. Also, seeing Terry Rozier being out for a while is going to hurt as well. They do have key pieces like Bam. Tyler Hero's still there, but it's going to be pretty tough for them to beat, especially the Celtics, who are on fire right now. The Celtics, who come in with a mission, who've been playing well for the past few years, who actually get things together, probably big time favorites to get to the NBA Finals and possibly win. I think it's a very slim chance that the Heat, are going to get past them. I'm still struggling on giving the Heat 1 game. I think that this could be an early sweep. Depending on how the Celtics played, they played extremely well today. They play the same way they did today. There's a good chance that this could be a 4-0 series. But also, like I said, I think that not necessarily wanting to give up on the Heat, but looking at it, you're going to need more from Tyler Hero. Caleb Martin's going to have to play better. Bam, I think it's going to be a lot on his shoulders. But I definitely think that this is going to be a tough series for the Heat. Possibly get a chance to get swept.
Real quick for me, like I said last week, even matchup between the Heat, who the Heat draw, either Miami Miami, either New York or Boston, would kind of go in their favor if they're going to win a series at that position. But I think a lot. Well, what I've said that a lot hinged on what I said about Jimmy Butler. Now with him out, the tune changes. And the way Boston played today, like you mentioned my tall hero, if you ain't playing well, then you can scratch it. They might squeak out a win in Miami, but I don't foresee them winning Game 2 in Boston. And not Al Horford, Bam Adebayo, you got to contend with guys like Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis down low, and it's gonna make his job harder. And Bam, he's like 6'8", 6'9". He can play strong inside, but sometimes that size can get to you. So I think, that factor, and then you mentioned about Caleb Martin, was kind of like an unsung hero in the last year's playoff run. He's got to step up. He's been kind of quiet this year. If any time for him to wake up and kind of, step up to the plate, it got to be him. So if they want to win Game 2, Hero, Martin, and Bam Adebayo, he got to rebound a little bit better. If those guys can come in and play better, I think they can squeak out Game 2, but that's an if and but, though, for that series. And moving forward, to every game that happened today, the Mavs lose to the Clippers 109-97. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving had 33 points and 31 points, respectively. But other than that, PJ Washington had 11 points. But nobody else really gave up. Did nothing else for the Mavs. Daniel Gafford only played 14 minutes. Only mustered 3 points. Derrick Jones, 18 minutes, no points. Nothing for the bench at all. 30% for three-point shooting as a team, which is not going to help them at all. On the Clippers side of things, James Harden, 28 points. Zubac, double-double, 20 and 15. Paul George, 22 points. No, and this is about Kawhi Leonard, by the way. So think about this. The Stars missing out in the beginning of the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle. A lot of heavy hitting stars missing out on the first round of in this series. Zion Williamson. So Russell Westbrook off the bench, 13 points for him as well. As you look at the series, D-Lock, even without Kawhi Leonard, they still win by double digits. How do you see that? Do they really need Kawhi for this series, or how you foresee this going? Because one game Luke is going to take over and Kyrie going to take over. How you see this series going as it moves along?
I think they're going to need Kawhi. It's not a team that is going to get swept or only get one win with Luka and Kyrie. I think this series is going to go to 7, to be honest with you. Luka and Kyrie, PJ Washington, all these guys, they're going to catch fire. Is the reason why they made the big moves to get Kyrie. Reason why they made the big move to get PJ Washington. This team is somewhat kind of loaded. So they're going to have that game. And I think that the Clippers are going to have their best lineup to beat this team at some point. So for me, as much as we see this past game, you see that James Harden had the game that he had, but at the same time, I think that Kawhi's going to have to come in and play a huge part. They're going to bring their best team together to be able to do some work. So for me, I think that as much as this was a blowout, Luka, we know Luka is going to have one of his games. Kyrie is definitely going to have one of his games. They're going to catch fire. They're probably going to blow out the Clippers at one point if Kawhi isn't there. So for me, I think that this series definitely goes to 7. this is not like the matchup with Boston and Miami where there's a big missing piece for Dallas, and it's just and also the Clippers are just a hell of a lot better than the Mavericks. I think this is one of the best series we've seen. Get week one. I'm sorry, not week one, but round one, and this one could definitely go to 7. In my mind, I think that we need to prepare for that, and they're going to need Kawhi to continue to stay competitive in the series.
This series gonna be tough. I think the role players for Dallas got to show up. Those guys got to show up. Those guys got to play their best ball. Hardaway, Gafford, all those guys, they got to show up. If they don't show up, I mean, yeah, Luke and Kyrie can win you some games. I'm not saying they can't. But it's going to be tough. If you can get 66 points from your star players. That's great. But, if the other guys ain't bringing nothing else to the table, then, your team's going to be up a creek. So, I just hope, those they just can't tell those other guys like Washington, all those guys, Derrick Jones. Hey, we need something from y'all. I need y'all. We ain't gonna beat this team without y'all. So I think the Mavs can win game 2, but it kind of depends if Kawhi Leonard comes back in game 2. I haven't seen the status on him, but if he back in the fold, like you said, here soon, he makes a big difference, especially on the defensive side of things. And he got scores. Paul George, James Harden. That could kind of like, balance that part out. And then wherever you get from Russ and whatnot, that's kind of like a cherry on top. So, disappointing the role players for the Mavs that I kind of like, when they got it at the trade deadline, I was like, oh, okay. Very good moves. I like the moves. But they got to, step up to the plate, earn their keep. Or the Mavs might be out early. I think they win a playoff game, but, they might be out early. They didn't want to. And to top it all off, tonight, the no more seed in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder take on the New Orleans Pelicans, who will be without Zion Williamson. That game tips off here about an hour from now. To preview this game, D-Lock, the Pelicans, they beat the Kings to get in the playing game. Zion's out, went out the Laker game. How you foresee this going, in this series? Can the Young Thunder, rise to the ranks? Or do the Pelicans kind of show everybody that, they can win a series without Zion? What you think about that?
My mind, I think that OKC is going to be a team that is clicking right now, especially at very young team. No Zion. I think that right now the Thunder is going to play a huge part and do some good things. In my mind, I think that they are going to. I think the Pelicans may grab a game or two. I definitely don't see this going to 7. This might go to 5. I mean, maybe go to 6 at best. I just I don't know how far Brandon Ingram and C.J. McCollum can take this team. Trey Murphy is a huge asset as well. So what will he do? What big role is he going to play? So for me, I think that this team is going to be in a situation where they're going to have to play perfect to get some big time wins against the Thunder. And also right now, like I said, the Thunder are just clicking right now with everything. So I'm grabbing some huge pieces also, throughout this season. But SGA looks good. You all know Josh Giddey with the stories that he's had, and Chet, being healthy. I think that's a big part. Obviously, centers are eating against Pelicans, so I think Chet has a big series. But I just think that Pelicans are going to fight. I think the Thunder are just in a they're moving in the right direction right now. And I think that the Thunder definitely take this series. The question is it 5 or is it 6?
Without Zion there, this series is singing a different tune. I really don't know how the series is going to go. I think without Zion, like you mentioned, I mean, this series would be pushed to 6. But without him, I think if he doesn't play at all in this series, maybe 5. But a lot of things got to swing in the Pelicans' way. In my opinion, it's like, can you get like a great defensive effort out, like at big time defensive effort, Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado? Can Trey Murphy play a hell of a game, one game? It's like, can Brandon Ingram and stay healthy? Can CJ McCollum wake the hell up? That's a fair question too. CJ been kind of playing like shit. Excuse my language. For a good hot minute. And SGA got invited to be a finalist for the MVP voting. Can he use his momentum to kind of sway voters and stuff like that? Sure. Yeah, I got OKC at least win 6 games in this series. And I think that crowd's going to be electric. First time in the playoffs from a long time for this group. Yeah, I think SGA, along with Anthony Edwards, they're going to use propel themselves into like superstardom. So I got the Thunder win in 6. I think game 1 is going to be tough and contested, but I think OKC is going to pull it out in game 1. I'll leave that last word.
I mean, like I said, I think that OKC is a better team. Clearly, in my mind, I think that this team is young, yet they come in with a lot of momentum and motivated. I think that no Zion, we've seen his team look totally different. The Pelicans. So me, I definitely, like I said, I'm just trying to see if I can give the Pelicans up to Game 6. They're definitely going to fight hard. They have a few pieces there that Larry Nance is going to play well. Brandon Ingram, McCollum. I think this really relies on how healthy Brandon Ingram is and how if he can continue to stay healthy. That hasn't determined it all, but at this point, I think a 4-1 series looks probably more real to me. I definitely think, like I said, the Pelicans will get a game out of this. It's hard to give them 2. I definitely don't see it going to 7. If it goes to 7, that'd be a shocker in my mind.
If it goes to 7, I think, the inexperience will kick in, and they'll just kind of screw up at different points, stuff like that. But I just don't foresee that going to 7. Never say never, but it's just like, I don't foresee that going to 7. But before we talk about yesterday's games real quick, let me get to the chat. How y'all doing tonight? We'll start from the top. From Mr. Larry B, the founder of IE Sports Radio. How you doing tonight, sir? He's saying playoffs. Miss Jen B, Cleveland's own. She's saying playoffs as well. Larry B, noted Laker fans say we just want to win a game. With you. Mr. Taryn Rodriguez in the chat. How you doing tonight, sir? Jen said Bernie will be happy, and Bernie's our host of our Wisconsin show that goes live every Sunday morning on YouTube through StreamYard. So do check out Mr. Bernie as well. He said he's worried about the series. Yeah, I've listened to his show earlier. I know he's kind of worried with Giannis being out and stuff like that. And then, look on the other side, you got the experience of Rick Carlisle on that, on that side of things. But, it's just like, it's the Pacers, Mathurin playing, and stuff like that. And you got the experience on your side. Granted, you got Doc Rivers, but I understand his concerns because the Bucks their play's been kind of seesaw for most of the year. So I get where he's coming from on that note. Taryn Rodriguez said, I say the Bucks and Pacers go to 7. If the Clips get Kawhi back in the lineup, they might win to 6. Without him, that might go 7. Interesting. Mr. Marcus Los, great in the chat. Marcus saying Taryn, the Bucks are cooking right now. The Seas about to sweep Miami. Good possibility. Every game I want to push Miami culture. Talk about playoff Jimmy. He said, I want all the smoke. And he quoted J.O. Felony. I love that album, by the way. His first one. I can give it to you, but what you going to do with it? I love that and the remix, too. Anyways. And Marcus brought this point up in the chat, D-Lock, about Zion. Now, on a side note, the Pelicans, whoever on the Pelicans Twitter page deserves a raise. But anyways, he asked about Zion. Is it trying to sell high on Zion? He can't stay healthy. He goes out at the wrong times. Stuff like that. Do you sell high on Zion in the offseason?
That's a tough question. Right now, we talked about him being healthy. What bigger he can make in New Orleans. At this point, do you trade him? That's a tough one. I think this team started to put stack together good chemistry, getting things together. Another reason why I believe that is true. Also, you have very good bench players. Trey Murphy comes in and plays well. Just seen Nigel Marshall with the minutes he got play extremely well. Larry Nance is playing extremely well. To sell on Zion, you have to get a very, good amount of pieces back. And it's sad because this is the conversation that we've had, and we will continue to have because it's just what Zion has done. So for me, if I'm New Orleans, the biggest question is how much do I believe into Brandon Ingram and McCullough? I believe in them a lot. That I possibly will move on from Zion, but I need a lot back in return. Not just draft picks. to fill a few pieces because he does have some spurts where he plays well. How old is he? What, 22 right now? 23?
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, around that age.
Yeah, so he's still very young. So for me, hell, about 5 years, he's only 27. He has a hell of a lot of growing to do still. So with this opportunity to move on from him, somebody definitely will be interested. But to move on from him, I definitely need a hell of a lot of pieces back in return. I think that having a player like a Zion as a trade asset would mean that you can get a lot or expect to get a lot. But again, that does rely on how much do you believe in Brandon Ingram? How long can he stay healthy? How much do you believe in McCollum? What are you building around? So you got a few pieces there, but moving on from McCollum, there are a few positions that I think they would definitely need to fill if they would consider that.
I think for me, it's just like I don't see it happening because I think there's too much time invested in him. So I don't see it happening. It's got to be at the right offer, in my humble opinion. It's got to be the right offer. I just don't see it. I think they're probably. I think. I'll be honest with you. I know it's kind of early to talk about off season talk, all that stuff. But I think either between Brandon Ingram or CJ McCollum, they're gonna sell high on one of those two guys. I think it may be more towards McCollum because he's older. But it won't surprise me if they sell high on Brandon Ingram. Because Brandon Ingram's in that same boat, D-Lock, of not saying healthy. They kind of like the Cavs. You look up, one guy's back, but another guy's going to injury report. One guy comes back, another guy going to injury report. So it's just like, damn. What we going? I mean, what are they gonna do here? But don't be surprised. I don't think Zion will get traded. But don't be surprised if Brandon Ingram or CJ McCollum, because they're not gonna trade both of those guys. They're not. But look for either one of those guys to get moved, not Zion. On that note, let's go to yesterday's games, D-Lock. But first, I know we talked about it last week. Planet Jerky, title sponsor here for IE Sports Radio. If you go to planetjerky.org right now, or your jerky, you may get a time for the rest of the playoffs. Whoever you root for, you root for the Celtics, you join your jerky and watch them beat arch rival the Miami Heat. If you're a Thunder fan, might not get your jerky now and eat it in front of Zion's face. Wherever the case, or your jerky now at planetjerky.org. Lots of great flavors on there, and always got good sales on there. So do check out planetjerky.org for all your jerky needs and taste and all that stuff. But what's the world without jerky? Planetjerky.org. Do check them out. Great people, by the way. Great people, by the way. To go to yesterday's games, D-Lock, we'll set up your Magic and the Cavs. I watched this game. I was cooking lunch, helping cook lunch for my mother-in-law for her birthday. I had the game on the laptop, and I was like, damn, the Magic ain't hit nothing for shit. I'll let you have the floor here. Game one, Magic Cavs. What did you see out of this young group, and how they can win game two in your eyes?
Well, I think the biggest thing that caught my eye
was Paulo Banchero. I mean, we've talked about him all year long, how extremely well he's played. And he's been looking awesome like all year. But I think this is one of the games where, not to say that he played bad, but more so that they, planned around him. He's the engine that keeps this team moving forward. And I think that we didn't see that aggressive in attack mode Paulo Banchero. Now I think that also plays a part of who they have starting. Also at the same time we started Jonathan Isaac at center. Didn't have Wendell Carter starting, which kind of had me scratching my head for a minute to see what their plan was. But at the same time, it just seems as if they try to get rolling. Jalen Suggs had a pretty decent game, but they couldn't get ahead in this game. Let Donovan Mitchell kind of do really what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I told you before, and I said, well, the biggest thing that's going to play a part in this game is the bigs against the Magic. Jared Allen had an outstanding game as well. Like I said, I knew that was going to play a huge piece. Now, starting Jonathan Isaac, I think this next game, I don't think they start him, possibly start Wendell Carter. And also now, we're talking about, trading Zion and the assets. I think the Magic have to consider what they need to do to get a dominant big, with this team. Jonathan Isaac at center didn't do anything. Starting Wendell Carter is probably not going to do too much of a difference either. So they need to consider that, when this offseason comes around, however the rest of this year plays out for them. But you're going to need more from Banchero. It's clear. Him and Franz Wagner are going to have to score, and make a bigger impact. We've seen them look like a totally different team when Banchero was on fire. So I think that's what this team is going to need. I really feel like they look like a totally different team with Banchero just kind of not being as aggressive or not having that great game that we're usually used to seeing him have. So for me, I think that it is game one, obviously, but I think that they can, I don't think this is going to be a sweep. I think they're going to make their adjustments. Like I said, I think, starting Jonathan Isaac at the 5 still makes me scratch my head because, hell, he didn't start at the 5 all year long. So I don't know what the hell they were thinking by doing that. That is one of the ones where you could have been thinking something different or being out coached at that point. But now moving forward, they have to make the slight adjustments moving forward because now, this is not a regular season time right now. This is, playoff time. And these are the games that count and are very important. So make an adjustment. You know what I mean? If you have to start start Wendell Carter and start Gogo at the 4, or start Wendell Carter and start Mo Wagner at the 4, because clearly what Cleveland is going to do is start Mobley and Jared Allen. And with both those guys down there, it's going to be hard to do anything, especially with Jonathan Isaac. Maybe you move Banchero up to the 3 and move Wagner to the 2, and have your guards in rotation. So for me, like I said, I think that they have to make this slight adjustment. Welcome to the playoffs. That's what that was. You have to get, you got these young pieces. Now they have to go out here and play. That's something that they have to do. And it means that they have to be consistent. And now the coaching is going to play a huge part. Luckily, like I said, this is not the NFL where you have one game and that's it. You have to win 4 games. So, okay, you lost one, got your ass with one game. Now you have to go back, make adjustments, come back and tie it up. And I think that's the goal for this next game coming around.
Yeah, Marcus. Well, I wasn't cooking no fish. They don't like fish, unfortunately. I've done some fish, and they love fish, but they don't. But yeah, I was watching that game, D-Log. I was like, damn. Like you mentioned about if Banchero and Wagner ain't going, then nothing's happening. And then credit to the Cavs. Evan Mobley took advantage of his matchups down low on a mismatch, and that's got to happen more in Game 2 if the Cavs want to win Game 2. Mobley's got to show that that force down low. You're not going to get for Jared Allen. I think Mobley's got to be that guy down low. And I think offensively, what Orlando did, what Cavs did to Orlando offensively is like, double teaming Bankero every chance they get at certain points. And it kind of frustrated him, to a point. And then I don't know what the hell Mo Wagner was trying to do. He was just sitting there hacking and stuff like that, and just doing dumb crap that hurts the team and stuff like that. I was like, what are you doing? And then Gary Harris, there's a guy that, has been in the league for a minute, that flashed some upside, but I think Coach Mosley, he's got to pivot off him. Now, who you allocate that time to? Let me pull that time real quick. Yeah. 33 minutes for Gary Harris, 0 for 6, 0 for 5 for 3-point land, 0 points. I don't know who you allocate that time to, but it's got to be somebody else. To who? I don't know. Because Fultz didn't play well. Cole Anthony didn't play well. Suggs didn't play well. You shot. I texted you after the game and stuff like that. They need like a bona fide shooter for their squad. Because if you depended on, Fultz, Cole Anthony, Ingles to be their 3-point threats, then it's gonna be a long series for Orlando.
Yeah, like I said, I think that they need to have Gary Harris, who is a good defender. He's not doing anything on offense, and that was not expected. Hell, he didn't do anything on offense all year long. For those that have watched, those that even did a little bit of FanDuel or fantasy play, Gary Harris has not done too much on the offensive side. He's more of a defender. He's had those games where he may score. But there's a lot of games where he just is out there playing defense. So for me, like I said, you go out there and you start Jalen Suggs at the 1, you move Wagner up to the 2, Bankero at the 3. You find out who you need to put at the 4. You need to put a big there. Maybe you put Isaac at the 4 and you start Wendell Carter. This is where I believe you get the best out of your guys and your rotation. Obviously, you got Markelle Fultz, you got Cole Anthony. You put those guys in rotation with Gary Harris. But, what we've seen clearly that first game, what they started yesterday is not going to do anything for them. And they have to understand that this is why, like I said, luckily, you're in the NBA where you don't have just one game. You have multiple games that you are going to have to prove otherwise. And even with that, he didn't play that good of a defense with Donovan Mitchell going off the way that he did. 0 for 6, 0 for 5 from 3-point land, and 2 boards. So at this point, I feel like you need to put him more in the rotational. Now, Jalen Suggs didn't shoot that well. But if you can start, maybe you move up Wagner, you put him in a better position, Bankero, and then possibly you starting Wendell Carter, who I mean, come on, dude. Like, you can't give him 15 minutes against a team that has Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. You know, he was Mo Wagner was more effective than Wendell Carter. So maybe you start Mo Wagner, but at this point, you got to have your big that starts down there and put Gary Harris on the bench.
Yes.
I just think that that's the best way to go. A lot of these guys, like I said, you could put in rotation, which is fine. But for one, again, the head scratcher for me was to start Johnny Isaac at the 5, which has not happened all year long. What are you thinking about doing that? That doesn't make any sense. You have Jared Allen, Evan Mobley start. Why would you start a power forward at the center and not have not one center starter? Like that. I mean, hell, I watch basketball. I don't coach it, but in my mind, I would know at least to start one of the centers against two centers. Like, so to me, maybe this is something that they had to go through and figure out. But I'm almost positive that they're going to start Wendell Carter or Wagner, one of these centers, this game too, because that clearly was a bad move by the coaching staff, and now they need to go ahead and make that adjustment so they can see what's going on. Game 2 is tomorrow. Like I said, I think obviously in Cleveland, but make that adjustment now because we know how it goes. Once a team goes up 2 or goes up 3, it's more likely a wrap.
I'll leave my final thought on this. You know, for the Cavs side of things, you know, continue what you did. Don't let Wagner and Banchero kind of break out in game 2. Like I said, keep things down low. Keep things honest down low. And I think that'll go a long way for your squad. And like you said, for the Magic, you gotta make adjustments on timeline. Gary Harris didn't really bring you much. You know, throwing Mo back down there, along with Jonathan Isaac, and just go from there. I mean, you got a big lineup. You know, Jalen Suggs is 6'4". You know, Wagner is like 6'8", 6'9". Beccaro is like 6'10". So that backcourt, you will dwarf Garland and Mitchell in that aspect of things. So you can challenge, you know, their shots and stuff like that a little bit more. That length and all that. It's all about length, you know, in that part. And then, you know, Banchero, he'll be on on Struz. So just a lot of, you know, just a simple change can like go about things in a long way. Real quick, the Timberwolves beat down the Suns 120-195. Anthony Edwards had a come out game. 33 points for him, 9 rebounds, 14 points, 60 points for Rudy Gobert. 18 points off the bench for Nickeil Alexander. And Nas Reed for 12 points as well to lead the way for the Wolves. The Knicks, 111, 104. 22 points for Jalen Brunson, 22 points and 13 rebounds for Josh Hart. McBride, Miles McBride out of West Virginia. You're going to hear a lot more of his name. 21 points out the bench for him, 5 for 7 for 3-point land. He was very key for them winning that game. For the Sixers, Joel Embiid has 29 points, 8 rebounds, but he had a dunk in the game that he threw off the glass and he dunked it, but almost hurt his damn self. And I was sitting there watching that. It's like, you fool. You just came back. So, I don't know about, two things I wonder about Embiid in this aspect. How far his health's going to go in this series. And two, I wonder if he's going to really play for Team USA in the summer. That's something to keep an eye on there. On that front. Tobias Harris had 7 points. What a waste. But he got his money, though. Anyways, to finish off the Lakers, they lose 103-114 to the Denver Nuggets. Real quick, 32 points for Anthony Davis, 14 rebounds for him, 27 for LeBron on that part, 32 points for Joker, and 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 22 points for Jamal Murray. Real quick, do the Lakers have a chance against this current incarnation of the Nuggets team, or they just got their number?
I mean, a pretty decent shot. I think what they need to figure out is their rotation as well. They're in a better situation, actually, than the Orlando Magic because of who they have on their team. You have to figure out what are you going to do with Gabe Vincent and Spencer Dinwiddie. D'Angelo Russell didn't play that well. One of the reasons why you grabbed some of the pieces that you did as far as the guard position was because, the inconsistency of D'Angelo Russell. I'm looking at 6 for 20. In field goal range, 1 for 9 3-point. Obviously, that's not good. Torian Prince came in and played pretty decent. So for me, you need to figure out what the hell is it going to be with Dinwiddie and Gabe Vincent. I think that he's going to be a person that, or those two are going to, play a huge part. Also, Hachimura. I mean, he got 30 minutes and didn't do too much of anything. So you have a lot of pieces. To be honest with you, man, like I said to you before we started the show, hell, the Lakers got out hot. I mean, I thought that the Lakers were going to pull off an upset this first game. I thought that they were going to, go out and sneak out this one game and head back to LA at some point, at least with the win over the Nuggets. But overtime, we see all these guys coming in. D'Angelo Russell just didn't play that well. I think he plays better this next game. Hell, Austin Reeves didn't play extremely well either. But I think now when you go get Dinwiddie, Gabe Vincent, who has not played all year long, now you need these guys to come in and make a huge impact, especially against the defending NBA Final champions. So I think, I thought, like I said, them missing Bruce Brown was going to play a huge part, and I still think it do. But I think now this is where you need these guards to come in and play extremely well. LeBron played outstanding. Let's just put that out there. As consistent and how long he has played, he is still that guy. And that is not going to change, especially during playoff time. I think Anthony Davis has played, pretty decent. He could have played better, but hell, 45 minutes, 12 for 23, 14 rebounds, 32 points. You can't ask for too much from him at some point, especially doing all that against the Joker. He actually, with Joker, Joker is usually a walking triple-double. He did not have a triple-double, three assists away from that. But the other guys got to step up at this point. This is something that has to be continued. LeBron with 41 minutes, D'Angelo Russell with the same amount of minutes, 6 for 20 is definitely not good at all. 1 for 9 at the 3-point line is definitely not good at all. Austin Reeves, 37 minutes, 2 for 6 at the 3-point line, not good. So get these other guys in, get them in rotation, let them get the rhythm to help, the stars like AD and LeBron and see where they can move from this. I don't think it's over yet, but they do have their work cut out for them.
Real quick for me, how you doing, Patricia? This Patty, how you doing tonight? Real quick for me, the role guys got to step up a little bit more. I know you brought your Rui Hachimura up, but I think having him in the starting lineup and him having to guard Jokic, kind of doesn't help him, be consistent for the rest of the game. Because you got to worry about Jokic. Guys worry about stopping him, all that stuff. So I think that kind of takes him out of his game a little bit. Do they kind of adjust as well? Like we kind of talked, beforehand. I mentioned like starting Jackson Hayes, bring everybody up a little bit, give LeBron more ball handling duties. Put either Russell or Reeves on the bench, and then like you mentioned, gotta figure out something. Gabe Vincent, Spencer Dinwiddie. If Russell ain't shooting well, you got two of your guards right there, and that's the purpose why you brought in a Gabe Vincent for this reason. That's why you courted Spencer Dinwiddie for this reason. Kind of had a depth there in this case. Russell was off his game. So if Russell's off his game, next game, then you gotta, pull the plug and Gabe Vincent, Spencer, do your thing. Thing about it though, Gabe Vincent hasn't really played much this year, and Spencer Dinwiddie's play has kind of gone down. So you're kind of in a tough spot there in that position. But I'll let you have the last word. Do the Lakers kind of tie up the series at 1-1, or do the Nuggets go 2-0?
As much as I'm a Lakers fan right now, I love watching this team play. I think LeBron is obviously who he is. I think the Lakers grab game 2. I don't think that D'Angelo Russell comes back and plays like that. I think that they come back and grab game 2. I think that this team is going to put it together. We talked about Darvin Ham with his usual walk, his hand in his pocket, walking like he's super nervous. I think that this Lakers team does grab game 2 slightly. They're on the way to where they need to be. They just got to get their chemistry there with some of these guys on the bench. I think we see a little bit more of them involved. They had the game. It just, like you said, the NBA, the basketball is about game of runs. But I think that the Lakers pull off this game 2 and head back to LA, with it all evened up.
So we leave on that note. I think the Lakers, they'll lose game 2, but they'll get at least a win in LA. But I think game 2 will be a lot closer and whatnot. But I think they'll win game 2. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. Thank you for the chat. Please hit that like button before you step out of here, please. It'll help out things in the algorithm. D-Lock, how do people find you on social media?
Black Dash 813 on Twitter / X. Let them know they can find you at the show's page.
Do follow the show's page at Twitter / X at Fastbreaker IESR. That's Fastbreak IESR. Do follow IE Sports Radio on all social media platforms. X / Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Well, depending on how that lasts. Also, do follow us with IESportsRadio.com for all your latest shows, news, and feeds. The NFL draft is coming up this week, so a lot of NFL draft talk on the network. Also, NFL draft mock draft contest. Please send in those mock drafts to Mike Pat on X / Twitter. Do send him a direct message to be entered for our contest for IESportsRadio.com. Do follow me on Sports Radio. Do follow me on Twitter / X at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. I do know a show that's called The Crooks Process. Do follow that on Instagram and Facebook and on TikTok as well. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be more playoff talk here on the network. Do go to playandjerky.org or your jerky, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.